just first deal with Michigan briefly on a broader level. Ethan and then Crash, how big is this game? How important is it for USC, the program, Lincoln Riley, for Danton Lynn? How big is this game a week and a half out in the Coliseum? And you can also address the kickoff time kind of bundled into that.
Sure. I think the kickoff time is like very directly bundled into that because it's at 4:30 on NBC. So the country's going to be watching. Like that's their NBC is broadcasting this game as if it's, blue blood Michigan against blue blood USC. That is going to have college football playoff ramifications. And whether that's the case or not, that is how they're approaching it at this point because they put it in their 4:30 slot on NBC. So I just think yes, there are elements in terms of where this team ends up this season that this game matters for. Like, it's a conference game. It's, there's this trend that we've seen in the past where, in 2023 especially, and in 2024 a little bit as well, where the team is rolling and then they lose a game and then suddenly the season goes off the rails and all the expectations that were built up just fall off the face of the earth. And so I think this is kind of the point that we identified even preseason, but is also like really crucial even now, is that, if USC were to lose to Illinois, which they did, then this game becomes kind of like the game where the season is in danger of snowballing because there's a lot of tough opponents after this, and there's also a lot of trap games after this, like the Nebraska game in particular in Lincoln, but also the Iowa game a little bit as well at home. Like those are games that USC shouldn't lose, but could end up losing if just this disaster fest of like 2023-esque USC is 6-0 and then they lose once and then they win only one time the rest of the season type of thing happens. So so it's big in that sense, and it's big in, if you're looking at this as a season where you think USC can still compete for the college football playoff, like they need to win this game for that reason as well, because they have two more tough opponents on the schedule, yada, yada, yada. But I just think for program pride, this game is absolutely massive because, USC goes to Michigan last year and they're heartbreakingly close, but they lose. And this game, this year kind of represents an opportunity for them to play them in the Coliseum, so it's not in hostile territory anymore. It's a sold-out crowd. There will probably be a lot of Michigan fans there. I'm not going to, BS anybody about that. Like, there will definitely be a lot of Michigan fans there. But evidently there's going to be a lot of USC fans as well because it's already sold out weeks in advance. And, this is what the whole internet of Big Ten fans outside of USC was saying after the Illinois game. It's like USC doesn't belong in the Big Ten. USC doesn't, USC this, USC that, just all this. USC isn't a blue blood anymore. Like all of this criticism, and USC can't talk back about it because they just lost to Illinois. And they don't really have like a signature victory in the Big Ten yet, I would say, because they lost to Michigan last year. They lost to Penn State. Like those were kind of the big Big Ten games. So I just think this establishes like hey, we can compete in the Big Ten, even if we don't compete for a Big Ten championship this year, like we can beat one of the premier Big Ten programs. This is, going to become an actual rivalry. We're not going to sink down to, the Rutgers and the Nebraskas of the world. Like we're here to compete. We're here to be at the top. And we're here, to if not this year, next year, compete for a Big Ten title and compete with these programs and beat these fan bases. I think it's also especially important to note that Michigan's only loss thus far is to Oklahoma. So just like they did, they kind of crawled into our chat on the post-game live after we lost to Illinois because they were, just feasting seeing us cry about Lincoln Riley and how his game managing decisions were terrible and how he still hasn't figured out how to have a good defense at USC. They're going to, be like that tenfold if we lose to Michigan because they beat Michigan earlier in the season. So it's, kind of the sweetest taste of victory other than beating us directly. So I just think there's just so much pride for the university that's running on this game, even though it's not like, number one USC versus number two Michigan or number two USC versus number one Michigan. Like this is just so big because of the brand that it is and because of the TV slot that it is and because the whole country will be keyed in on it and everyone cares so much one way or the other about these programs, whether they love them or hate them. So there's just so much larger college football significance that I think is riding on this game.
So I think, Ethan, you made a lot of great points about just everything going into this game. And I think you just think about, especially when USC is in the Pac-12 and dominating Michigan and the Big Ten dominating, it's a traditional Rose Bowl matchup too. And especially, being in the Coliseum, not that far at all from Pasadena, also adds to it too, that you just also are thinking you got these two great brands, two of the biggest programs in college football, just historically speaking, are going at it in Los Angeles. And then obviously it's a sold out crowd. There will be Michigan fans because I've read before that I think each Big Ten school is allotted a certain percentage or certain number of tickets for the visiting team is for their fans. So there will be Michigan fans. Like, I've been texting some of my friends at Michigan, seeing if they're coming. But pretty much you think about just the matchup, the time slot too, for sure. I mean, obviously I think it's perfect time as I've spoken about, as I've been very public about in the past and on here on the show, is 4:30 to 5 is my preferred kickoff time. So I think it's a great kickoff time too. Not too early, not too late. I'm not going to be up till midnight, but we're also not going to have to, start drinking at 8 in the morning. So I think just with everything going into it, then also, USC's coming off of a loss. Michigan's, looking to, is obviously, under fire right now for everything that happened in the 2023 season under Jim Harbaugh. And they're looking, get past that. Sharon Moore now, I think, will be fully back from his suspension. So I think just you think about just everything that's going on. I think it's just both programs are really just trying to look for, I think, that just validation, also vindication, I think, too, of like, we're back. We're not going away. We're here to stay. And I think that's especially true for both teams. So I'm really excited to see them just go out and compete because of just everything that's online, especially just what both programs want to prove to the entire country.
Yeah, the primetime game means no breakfast burrito tailgating for Ethan. Sorry, Ethan. It's gonna have to be a dinner tailgate.
Ethan will still bring a breakfast burrito. Watch him.
You can eat breakfast burritos at 4:30 p.m.
Oh, I do it all the time.
Okay, but my over-under for breakfast burritos just went down a couple with that prime time.